from losing the love of my life to, I got remarried 10 years after that. Then I lost my father. Then I lost my mother, and everything happened like, you won't even believe it. And when I went through a divorce last year, I think my divorce is what really strengthened me to find myself again, to say to myself, you know what? This didn't kill you, girl. You better get up and do something for you and do something for your kids. And that's when I came up with that acronym FLY. First love yourself, because I learned to fly.
Amos Madra.
Pele, a warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think you've got an incredible story from the military to being bereaved and being a single mother and rediscovering yourself and finding out who you are and what you can achieve in life. There's so much for us to talk about. Can you just start off by telling us who you are and what you do?
Ooh, wow. Hello, hello, hello. Or should I say talofa? Talofa to you, Amos, and talofa to your amazing listeners, and to, the amazing London. I'm like, oh my gosh, the what? The radio station in London? Like, I am so honored. I'm humbled and just truly blessed to be here today with you and with your audience. And so, in every platform that, I speak on, I always give God all the honor, praise, and glory, for this blessing, because although this is, my purpose and what I love to do, to be a blessing to other people, but I always give it back to Him, because if it wasn't for God's love, mercy, and grace, I wouldn't be here today. And look, we wouldn't be here, like, me and you, we wouldn't be here conversating and just to share, what God has brought us through. And so my name is Fapipele Hunkin, but I go by Pele for short. And Pele in my Samoan language means sweetheart, and that I am. And so I am from the beautiful island of Samoa. And, I left Samoa in 1994, and I joined the military. Out of 13 children, I was the only one. And so my siblings always say, you are the craziest one. They call me Uncle Sam's slave, Uncle Sam's child, Uncle Sam, you name it. But then I said, it's okay. So anyway, to make the long story short, I am grateful to be here. I am a mother of 4. I am an Army retiree. I'm a widow, and I'm just a humble servant of God. And I'm a vessel of love and a vessel of positivity. And what I love to do is to place a purpose, place a positive impact in people's lives, to help them find their new selves, to help them find their purpose in life, and just to learn how to fly. First love yourself, because in my journey, just 2 weeks ago, I called my journey a breathtaking journey. It's a journey of losses. I've lost so much in life, and God has brought me through a lot in life. And so that's a little bit about myself.
Incredible. I think there's so much that we could pick from there. Being bereaved and staying so positive for your children, for yourself, and for your community as well. Talk to us about that period. How did you get through that?
Oh man, Amos, that is such a great question. So my journey actually started when my children's father passed 15 years ago. And so, this morning, the holidays are always, the hardest for me. And so every holiday, he's laid to rest 30 minutes away from my home. So, and so is my brother. So I always make sure that I change out their flowers, before the holidays. So that's when my journey started. It started when he got into a terrible accident in Balad, Iraq. And it was really hard for me then, because at the time I was a soldier in the military, but he followed me to Iraq as a contractor. And so when the accident happened, he was, in a coma for 6 months. And at that time, to make the long story short, because of our time, he was in a coma for 6 months. And then within that 6 months period, it was very hard, for me, trying to cope with, his condition, just praying, just hoping, and just wishing that he would wake up, just wishing that, something will turn, just wishing. But, I just had to come to my realization that, at the end of the day, God always had the last say so. And it was hard. But when God called him, home, that's when I immediately became that widow. That's when I became that single parent, and I was a full-time mother already and a full-time, soldier. And I was already a college student online. So trying to tackle all that was really hard. But then that's when I had to, find that strength. I had to find that courage. I had to look into my kids' eyes and be like, they were so young when their father passed. My oldest was 8, my son was 6, and my youngest was 18 months. So it took a lot of heart. It took a lot of dedication to not only to myself, but to my children. It took a lot of commitment. It took a lot of discipline. It took all that, to get to where I am today. Everything happened so fast, from losing the love of my life to, I got remarried 10 years after that. Then I lost my father, then I lost my mother, and everything happened like you won't even believe it. And when I went through a divorce last year, I think my divorce is what really strengthened me to find myself again, to say to myself, you know what? This didn't kill you, girl. You better get up and do something for you and do something for your kids. And that's when I came up with that acronym FLY, first love yourself, because I learned to fly, and I always speak on that. I love myself enough to be the change I want to see in life, not what, my sisters and brothers want to see me, not what so-and-so. No, it's the change Pele wants to see in life. And so that's when I started, I took charge of my life then, and I'm so grateful that I met, my sister Yashika. She introduced me to Les Brown, and from Les Brown, I met Tanya. I met so many great people in a power voice, and, just trying to summarize everything, because today is what I really wanted to talk about and speak heavily on, is how I became this published author. How did I do it? And it was all because of Tanya Coley, my coach, my publisher, and so she was my coach before she became my publisher. And I met Tanya in September of last year. And it was through a phone call. And it all started when I called and I was wishing her, well, and, cheering her on before she went on to speak to the Les Brown. And from then on, it just happened like, wow. So when I went from September of last year to September of this year, I completed my manuscript for my book because Tanya challenged me on a 90-day book challenge. And Amos, let me tell you, I never thought I could do it because I was going through some things in my life just like anybody else. But like I said, it takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of commitment. You just have to have that drive in you, because I said you have to have that warrior mindset. You have to have that champion mindset, that positive mindset, that no matter what you go through in life, it's up to you to tackle what life is throwing at you. And so that's how I was able to tackle all that and become that published author because of Tanya. And I just can't thank her enough. And I always tell her this all the time, that thank you is never enough for me, to thank her. Because I've been writing since Dean was in the hospital, when he was hospitalized for 6 months. And I've just never, got to put it in paper. I was told, hey, you have a book, this and that. But when Tanya challenged me in June, I said to myself, you know what, this is it. I think this is my calling. This is, what God is calling me to do. And that's why I started, then to share and tell my story through speaking and through writing, not because it's for me. I said to myself, because God has brought me through a lot in life, I want to share my story for people, because I want to give people hope. I want people to know that, if God brought me through it, that He can do the same thing for them. And so, the steps that I've used, how I came, through all that I've been through, I wanted to share that. And I would love to share everything, and I'm talking about everything. I love, like I said earlier, I'm a, vessel of love and positivity. And that's what I love to pour into people. And, I want people to know that now is the time, for us to use those tools. Now is the time for us to use those talents. Now it's the time for us to love on each other, because it's not right. That's just me. Like, why would we want to wait till tomorrow or till
Absolutely.
next week, to love? Or why should we wait till tomorrow, to help somebody out? I always, every day when I wake up, I'm grateful. And I always tell and I always ask God, use me as your vessel. Use me today. If I can, my thing is this, Amos, if I can touch one heart, if I can touch one soul, and if I can make a difference in somebody's life, one day at a time, is one life at a time, I'd be the happiest person in the world.
Absolutely. You've got a great motto which says, stay humble, stay positive, stay strong, and always stay encouraged. Have you always been this sort of person? Have you always been positive and encouraged the way you are today?
Honestly, I have mostly because that's how I have been all my life, and all that I am and all that I hope and pray to be, I owe it to my ancestors. I owe it to my parents and my grandparents. I was always been raised to be loving, to be positive, to be encouraged, and and just to be a blessing. I've been, this is how how I've been raised. I've been like this all my life, but I just want people to know life is not always, it has not always been like this for me. I'm no different than anybody else. There were many, many times, when I say many times, I lost count of many times in my life where I wanted to quit. There were many times where I was just being negative, and I just say, man, like I don't even want to do it. Like this is not, but like I said, when you know your why in life, when your why is so strong and when your why is so big, it'll push you through all that. And so I get that ritual. When Dean passed, that's how me and my children, I instilled that in my children, to stay positive, stay strong, and always stay encouraged. I added the humble into it when I overcame my divorce. When I was going through my divorce, I learned to stay humble because that's how I was raised. My grandma and my mama always raised us, and they said, Pele, when you have a humble heart, it'll take you a long way in life. And so I added that humble to, our I call it, it's my guiding life, my guiding philosophy in life, to stay humble, stay positive, stay strong, and always stay encouraged. And it's because I had to, you know, stick so strongly to that power of forgiveness when I was going through all that, because I had to forgive myself. I had to forgive myself for all the mistakes that I was making. I had to forgive myself, for the meanness. I mean, there's so many things that, in life in general, I encourage people to forgive yourself. We ought to forgive ourselves first before we should, or we ought to forgive somebody else. And I'm speaking from experience because that's just me. And I've learned that. So that's why I always say, stay humble, stay positive, stay strong, and always stay encouraged. And that's why, I'm so grateful to Tanya. So with all that, Amos, I am now I've co-authored 3 books and, authored my own. And so I'm so excited, for my next, which is my book. And Tanya is my publisher, for my book. And it's called Heart of a Warrior. And I always believe, warriors don't just survive. I always believe warriors thrive, and I was thriving through it all. And I know, and I believe, to all the amazing listeners out there, that no matter what you're going through in life, when you learn to fly, when you learn to first love yourself, it doesn't matter what life is throwing at you. Love yourself enough to be that change you want to see in life. Love yourself enough to reach deep down in your heart, to find that courage, to find that power, because we all have it. But like I said, it's all up to us to get to it.
Incredible. And have you found that by you loving yourself, you're able to achieve so much more? Do you find that you're empowered to do a lot more?
Yes, Amos, I'm telling you, sometimes I wake up just in tears, just feeling grateful, because when I was, like I said, I really think it took my divorce for me, to find myself, to love myself. Should I say, I had to reset, I had to recreate, I had to renew myself, because I was just so busy, loving on, my ex, loving on the children. And, I just like, I didn't really, care for Pele. I cared, but then I didn't care enough to where, I would get to this point. Because if I never had been through a divorce, I wouldn't be where I am today. And it's like, to me, I think, I don't think, I know that, my divorce has been a true blessing to my life, because after that, I had to, I'm just writing. I'm speaking, I'm making a difference in people's lives, and that's what I love to do. And I just, I'm just so grateful to God. And in my journey, I've learned a whole lot about having an attitude of gratitude. I've learned
Absolutely.
that it doesn't matter, that I go through all the trials and tribulations in life, because you know why? Let me tell you something, brother. The first book that I co-authored, is my chapter was From Pain to Purpose, and it was all the pain that I was going through in life. That's why I came up with that topic, because I embraced all the pain, from the losses, from the divorce, from all the time. Because, I was in my darkest moments of my journey, I turned to alcohol. When I lost my husband, I turned to alcohol. When, I was going through a divorce. And so from my pain to my purpose, I embraced it all. And I'm telling you, I am so grateful to all the pain that I was going through, because it molded me to a God-fearing woman that I am today. And I am so grateful to God. And so that's one of the main things that I love to speak on, about the attitude of gratitude, not just when good things happen, but in all circumstances, be grateful, because, our pain, gives us that opportunity. It shows us a whole nother, perspective of life, a whole nother, side of what God has for us. But, that's a whole nother story. We can talk about, I can talk about the attitude of gratitude
Yeah.
all day long.
In all things, give thanks, and finding
Yes,
good in every situation, regardless of
yes,
what it is. And, you clearly demonstrate that. And, that's giving you a purpose. It's giving you a reason for living, and it's giving you joy. It's bringing you step. And that's having an impact on so many people. And I can imagine that starts with the people around you, your family.
yes. And so, Amos, so I just wanted to touch on the 3 books that I've co-authored. So that was the first chapter I shared with you. And then the other one was, the book is called The Cultivate Your Mindset for Success. And my chapter is Stay Encouraged. And so then the third book is Women of the Power Voice. And my chapter is From Trials to Triumphs, and so it's just, I'm just amazed with what God is doing on my, in my life. And like I said, that's why I started writing and started sharing my story and everything, because I want to give people hope. I want people to know that there is so much in life, to celebrate. And there's so much in life that God has given to us, because I always believe that God gave all of us this thing called life, because he knows that we all are strong enough to live it. But it's like I always say, that it's all up to the individual person, to tackle what life, is throwing at you, because, there's 2 things that you're going to have to do with what life is giving you. When life is handing whatever to you, it's either you want to be bitter or you want to be better. So, hey, I hope and I pray that you will choose to be a better person.
Amen. Incredible. So there's a lot in the pipeline. There's a lot happening for you. How can we learn more about Pele, and where can we get in touch?
Yes. So look me up on my website. I have a website, PeleInspire.com. I'm on Facebook, Pele Hunkin. I'm on Instagram, Pele Inspire, and Pele Inspire on Facebook. And amazingly, I forgot all about my YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel. Somebody just reached out to me late this morning and said, "Thank you so much." And I'm like, "Thank you for what?" And this gentleman said, "I am so inspired. I was looking for something to watch, and your YouTube channel." I'm like, "My what?" So please look for, I don't know if it's Pele Hunkin or Pele Inspire on YouTube channel, but yes, I would love to connect with you. I would love to help you get to where I am today, because it's an amazing feeling when you are free to be authentically me. That's why I always say, I am free to be authentically me. God created me to be.
Incredible. Pele, you've got a fantastic energy. I love your energy. I think, you can speak about being positive, but demonstrating it is another thing. And you clearly do that. And that comes across, so effortlessly. And you can just see that your passion, your love for what you do, despite the difficulties and the hard times that you faced, you still found good in that. And ultimately, finding your secret weapon, which is gratitude. And that's got you through so many things, and finding a new high, which is Thanksgiving. And I think if we can take some of that and apply it to our own lives, we'll be able to do some incredible things. And you've demonstrated that. And I just want to say a huge thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes. I have, can I say just a few more words before we leave? Because, we are, approaching, Christmas, and we have the new year coming. And so I just want everyone to know that although, there's new year resolutions, and I just never believe in new year resolutions. I just want you to believe in yourself, because I believe in you, right? I believe that whatever is in your heart, go for it. Like I said, do what makes you happy. Choose you. Like I said, first, first love yourself, and always choose you first. When you do that and you allow God to be the foundation of your life, can't nothing, that'll come your way, that'll be impossible. Because that word impossible, I'm possible. You are possible. And I want you to know that every time, and I'm talking about every time and anytime you look at yourself in a mirror, I want you to be inspired by that person in the mirror. And that person is that amazing you, is that bold you, because God created you to be an amazing, powerful, and phenomenal person who will be a blessing to other people. So I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I wish everybody a Happy New Year. And look, if you still have your parents, I highly encourage you to love on them. Now is the time for you to love on your parents. You only have but one set of parents. And I always love to share that, because I really miss my parents. And my life has changed tremendously since my parents passed. And so I'm grateful to God that I am carrying the legacy that my parents left with all of us. And you can do the same thing. Carry that legacy of love, the legacy of courage, the legacy that they left with you. Look, you can leave that legacy for your family too, for your children. Let's do it. Now is the time for us to use all that God has blessed us with to be a blessing for each other, be a blessing for someone every day, and just love yourself enough to be the change you want to see in life. I love y'all. Amos, I am so grateful to you. Thank you for this opportunity that you have blessed me with. Like I said earlier, I'm humbled, honored, and truly blessed to be in your presence. I'm just so excited, to be here. I couldn't, wait to meet you, to share with you, and just to look at you, and I'm like, wow, like it's Amos the greatest. And so I'm grateful, and I pray that God will continue to bless you and bless your community and in all that you do, and I love you. And like I said, you have a family here in South Carolina. And so look, you can't get rid of me now. You are my brother from another mother, and I am your sister from another mister.
Pele Hunkin, thank you so much. And to borrow your words, I am truly humbled. Thank you. If you want some amazing inspiration, check out the videos next to me, and I'll see you right there.